and we'll try to tackle this together. Dear Building Better Leaders, I've always led with the mindset that you can be kind and still drive performance. And for the most part, I think my team appreciates that. I give praise freely, encourage autonomy, and focus on psychological safety. But when upper management reviews our results, they see areas where we have fallen short, example, missed revenue targets and project delays. I can't help but feel they blame my soft approach. I even overheard someone say maybe they need someone tougher in there. So what stings is that I know my team is capable. We have done great work before, but now I'm stuck wondering, am I prioritizing culture and connection at the expense of outcomes? Is it possible to lead with heart and deliver hard results? Or does something have to give? So that's the letter that we received from someone who is probably struggling a little bit with getting some results, because probably this letter writer has over-indexed a little bit more on the relationship bit. Any thoughts about how we should advise this letter writer?
It's a well-documented myth, actually, that I can't remember what book is it I read, that the strongman leader is normally the better leader. And that truly is a myth. Because good leaders tend to be very compassionate, have a lot of empathy for the team, and that's how they derive loyalty, right, and respect. So,
Yeah.
what do you need? The key ingredient for being a good leader isn't hard, soft, isn't shouting or not shouting, right? But it's actually respect. So if your team respects you, then you'll be able to lead well. So if you can be shouting, you can be strict, you can be all that, but if your team doesn't respect you, you just never be a good leader. So I think that misses the mark entirely, right? And so how do you gain respect? You gain respect just like how you gain respect with any other human being. You show that you care for this person, you personally care. You make the move to allow trust, to give your trust to this person, for this person to trust you back eventually, right? And that's how you build a relationship, and that's how you build respect. But and this strongman thing is that we always tend to maybe just project what we see. We know, okay, Steve Jobs has been a very tough leader and everything. Or Elon Musk, for example, is known for screwing his team and all these things. And there is a time and place for these kind of leadership. There's a wartime CEO and a peacetime CEO, right? So a wartime CEO is one where you need someone to be more decisive, less coaching, less about trying to convince you, but more like, okay, let's just do this shit and let's just do it now because we don't have time, right? But the difficulty about being a wartime CEO is that it's not something that you can have at a very prolonged period of time without team burnout, right? So that wartime is CEO can be very effective, but it has to end sometime. Otherwise, it'll be just like a country at war and a constant war. It's just going to be dilapidated, and people will leave and all that. It's exactly the same thing, right? And that's what happens with these kind of leaders. Like Elon Musk is very much a constant wartime CEO. If you notice, if you read his book, his biography, right, he's always engineering a crisis, and that's how he gets everyone motivated to kind of work hard. Whether it's like, oh, they're not delivering numbers well enough, or all these kind of things. There's always some crisis to do it, and it governs effectively. But the price he has to deal with is that he has to deal with constant turnover. And you can be a strict, even an asshole boss, right? And that's fine, but that kind of makes it harder for you to find and retain talent over time, unless you're Elon Musk. Unless people are drawn because to your brand, because of what you have achieved this far, and because you're Elon Musk. But the problem is that most of us are not Elon Musk, right? So if we're going to be asshole bosses, we would just really repel talent. And if you repel talent, we're just doing very bad jobs as leaders, because any leader, any CEO, any entrepreneur is the main goal is to collect the best resources available and deploy them in the most efficient way possible. And if you can't collect the best talent, then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't perform.
Okay, okay. I'm just rereading again the letter writer, right? I hear you with regards to it is not about there's this myth about the strong man. It's not about hard and soft, but it's really about gaining the respect. I think as I was reading the letter again, I realized there's two parts to the letter, right? So one is that I think this letter writer may not be fully understanding what is the definition of leadership for him, right? Or for her. I'm not too sure the gender. But also, I think there's the other part, which is also managing his or her higher ups. Let's tackle the first one first with regards to understanding what leadership is all about. So I think in terms of definition of leadership for this person, how I define leadership is the ability to bring a group of people towards a common goal, but at the same time to also learn how to foster their relationship with them. So it's not either or but and, right? So there's the results bit as well as also the relationship bit as well. Think of it like, for example, like shooting a film or maybe doing a stage play in this case, right? So there is a goal to complete the film, but at the same time, you're bringing a group of actors and crew and so on, and you want to be able to provide the platform for them to grow as well when the film is completed. So you get the film as also you get people to grow as well. I think where this letter writer could be over-indexing is maybe more on the fostering bit, the relationship bit, from what I am getting from the letter itself, right? And usually, from what I understand, it's like a seesaw, right? So it's always going to be results or relationship, right? And it's not going to be always constant. You cannot balance it this way. It's not going to be fun if it's going to be like a scale. It should always be up and down, So that, like you said about wartime and peacetime, there are times where you need to double down on the relationship bit. There are times where you need to double down on the results bit. Like in this case, I think the management is seeing there's a drop in terms of the revenue missed targets and project delays and so on. So usually for somebody who is a bit more relationship driven, they're more naturally bent for that. The natural thing that they do, I suspect, is that they'll double down on the relationship, the chili relationship, right? So like, for example, they probably do more one-on-ones. They'll probably spend more time, talking to them, understanding them, encouraging them, and so on, right? So I think this is where the mistake is. This letter writer needs to also understand that there's a results bit. And what does the results bit sound like, in terms of the GGRE? It will probably be like this person needs to be more decisive. This person needs to probably at that point in time, like you said, to micromanage a little bit to make sure that this person have more details and so on. So instead of like oh, if the results are bad, so what I do more one-on-ones. I think that's a wrong remedy. That's what I'm thinking, right? So instead they should be dialing up a little bit more on the result side of things, so that the seesaw will tip over more on the result sides. I think this is where most leaders will fail a little bit, because they say, oh, it's not me. I'm not naturally bent that way, right? And I realized that for me as well, I'm still not very sure whether I'm a results or relationship, but I suspect I'm more relationship driven. So there was one point in time, I remember quite a while back, the numbers weren't doing that great. And I found it very difficult for me to be able to try to talk to the team to drive numbers in this case, right? But what I did was I actually sat the head of departments down and told them that, hey, for the next couple of months, my leadership style will actually change. From being more empowering, it will sound to you that I'm being more micromanaging, because I need to know what's really going on. I need to know what is the pulse of our clients and so on and so forth, right? I will be more detail oriented. This needs to be outlined, like you said, and I agree with you that it shouldn't be long term, right? If it's going to be forever this way, always war in this case, then people will be repelled, people will leave. So I did tell them about, like, this is going to be a 3 months thing. We need to double down on this. We have to make sure, and my way of leading, you may feel that I'm bringing down your neck. The fact is, it is, right? So I think this is where this person probably need to learn how to push a little bit more on the result side instead of relationship side lah. What are your thoughts on that? Tim?
Okay, I guess I'll tell you a story lah. And this experience really stuck with me, okay? So last time in my Nafnang days, and this is like 15 years, 20 years ago, and okay, not 20 years ago, lah, but long time ago. And we had this huge network of bloggers, influencers, and we would always work with these movie studios and movie distributors where they'll always give us like free movie screenings, right? And
Yep.
you've been some of them. And and then we have a community team that was meant to build community among the bloggers and influencers where they would have community events. Sometimes just get together, sometimes dinners, sometimes movies and all that. But this part of the the company doesn't really generate any money or revenues or anything like that. So I remember that year we didn't do so well. That one particular year we missed targets, and then we said, okay, so everyone bonuses are going to be less this year than last year, right? And the team, the community team was shocked. They were like, I don't get it. We worked very hard. We did 100 events this year. Our bloggers are all very, very happy, and influencers, they're very happy. So why is it that we're not getting our bonus?
Yeah.
Whose fault is that? The fault of that, right, lay in the leader. And it's not because the leader, the team was happy. He kept all the good people. They executed very well. But where the leader, i.e. me, failed was that I got them working on the wrong thing. They were working on something that really didn't materially make a difference to the bottom line of the company. And the bottom line of the company ultimately is the lifeline, right? Somehow our sales got affected because however strong the community was, it wasn't something that the market appreciated to be able to pay us more for. So when you say you're a leader or a good manager, right, it's not just about keeping a team happy and everything, right? But it's also like problem solving and choosing to work on the right things. And that's why, like, so now we're calling it alert, so we use OKRs, where everybody focuses on you know everything, like, what the roles are and how they add up to the end profit target goal. So it's very clear how everyone's role adds up to this thing. you know and that's what's important. So a leader's job, right, it's a very important part of the job is trying to figure out what is it that people should not be working on, not what they should be working on,
Right, right.
because work is plenty, it's unlimited. People can always find things to do, right? Whenever people come and tell me, hey, I'm overworked, I'm overstaffed, I always ask them, what are you working on that you think is not leading to any material change to the company's P&L? You know, and then I'll say stop doing that.
So
You know,
in this case, with regards to this letter, I think because the management is breathing down this person's neck, right, to say that, hey, you are not delivering on the numbers, and it seems that your approach is a bit soft and so on. So if you are in the position of the management, and with what you just said just now, to focus on what they shouldn't be working on, how would you advise this letter writer to be able to come across as they are working on the right things to the management?
I will, first of all, I will really investigate and find data to support the fact that I am really working on the right things, right? And saying, okay, I need a certain amount of time for this to show results. You give me the 6 months, after that I cut. If it's not working, I cut. That's it. And then I make that call then. So we have to understand this, like, leaders don't operate in a vacuum. All leaders report to other leaders.
Yeah.
You can be a CEO, you report to directors report to shareholders.
Yeah.
Like we don't operate in a vacuum. Our job, right, isn't just to manage downwards, it's to manage upwards as well. And our job is to be very rational and objective about the decisions we're making. That means we cannot be too overcommitted irrationally to an idea. And we must be able to have the self-awareness to say, hey, you know what? Shit, this doesn't work. And I give you an example, right? Like I have Colony, that the football business is Colony and it's Jerry. And Jerry in the first 1.5 years was doing poorly, man. and it was my invention, my idea. I felt an emotional attachment to it. But I told my boss, look, if this doesn't turn around, you want me to cut it, just cut it lah. It will give how much more millions in profits back to the company because we're not burning there, right? You just tell me when, and I'll cut.
Mm.
And then they all said, I might give it 6 more months. I said, okay, 6 more months. 6 months later, then the results started to improve. Then, okay, so we carry on, you know? But it's just like that, having that open-mindedness, I think,
I
you
agree
know?
with you. I think where this letter writer need to improve on is to be able to, like you say, articulate to, like you say, leadership don't exist in a vacuum, right? Need to be able to manage his or her boss as well, to kind of explain, okay, look, I understand, I hear you, and to kind of like constantly give them an update in terms of what's going on, the milestones and so on. And so there's a timeline, like you say, if by then it doesn't happen, then you take action, right? For example, to cut it off and so on. So I think that is important for them to communicate. I think where some I like what you just said, that some managers or leaders, they are very too attached to a particular idea. So whether or not, for example, oh, I'm here to protect my people, and that kind of ideas in this case, right? I think it's also important to understand that there is, as a business, there is actually a goal that everyone is working towards to, even including the bosses in this case. And the idea is to be able to collaborate with your boss to see how to actually achieve those business goals. And it's not really about, someone once told me before, it's not about managing your boss, but it's about understanding what's the goal and working together and collaborate with your boss towards achieving that goal. So rather than like me versus you, that kind of thing. So I thought that was quite an interesting perspective in this case. So I always say that the bosses are actually on your side, because they do, like you said, they too also have to be accountable to the results to somebody. So it's not really about me versus you. I think some maybe new age, some leaders, they actually think that way, that all bosses are bad and so on. So I think they need to understand and be objective and be rational about it lah. So let's wrap up this letter. So I think let's start off with what the letter writer actually said towards the end. There's something have to give. I think to the letter writer, in summary, there is actually nothing that you have to give away. In fact, you just need to be able to supplement your leadership style a bit more with more results driven. So all in all, I think there is this myth, we talk about this myth about a strong man. It's not about hard and soft, but it's really about learning how to gain the respect. And by gaining the respect, how do you do it is to show that not only you care, but also you also challenge them as well. Then we talk about wartime and peacetime CEO. So you need to be able to straddle between that two. But however, in terms of if it's always going to be constantly war, then you've got the Elon Musk punya problem. It will actually cause a lot of turnovers as well. Then we also talk about, how do we make sure that we are accountable to the bosses as well, is to understand that it's not only about working on the right things, because everyone kind of like know what to work on, but it's actually knowing what things that they shouldn't be working on, we should talk about, right? And to be accountable to the bosses, and to say that, okay, this is what we are working on, and this the things that we are not working on, because leadership doesn't operate in a vacuum. There needs to be some accountability. So all in all, that is the advice that we probably be giving to this person.